Anime physiques. They aren't big, they're not bodybuilder physiques, yet somehow they look better than 99% of guys in the gym. So what makes them so aesthetic? It's not genetics, it's not magical workouts, it's about what they prioritize. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the real-life anime physique blueprint and how you can build it in real life. I went from an absolutely skinny kid to building an incredible aesthetic physique through just a couple years of consistent hard training. And if you are ready to take your aesthetics to the next level, carry on watching this video, because I promise you, if you follow along through this video, you will improve your physique and ascend to the next level. Okay, but first we have to actually discuss what makes anime physiques as aesthetic as they are. And it really does not matter what type of character you're looking up to, whether that's Baki, whether that's Sun Jin Woo, whether that's Asta, whether that's Gojo, whether that's Toji. It really does not matter, because all of your favorite characters have this one single trait in common. And if you want to go ahead and truly achieve an anime physique, you need to be focusing on this feature. And that feature is the V-taper. And the V-taper is the broad shoulders and the tiny waist, which kind of forms like this V-shaped silhouette, which honestly is the most attractive look on a man, because this look signals to other people that you are actually high testosterone, that you are a dominant man, that you can actually protect and provide for other people. And the great thing about achieving this V-taper silhouette is that you can most definitely do it in the gym, as long as you go ahead and train the right muscle groups, which I'm going to be explaining in this video, the most important muscle groups in order to get this anime type physique you've always wanted. The first muscle group which you should be training and literally hammering is going to be your shoulders. And now there's mainly three heads of the delt. There is the front delt, there is the side delt, and then there is also the rear delt. And as for your front delt, the best exercises are going to be a shoulder press variation. Doesn't matter if you're doing this with a barbell, with a dumbbell, sitting down, standing up, it really does not matter. The most important thing is that you choose one shoulder press variation and you actually go ahead and progressively overload week by week. Now, for your side delts, the best exercise is going to be doing a lateral raise. The lateral raise is going to be an exercise which you really want to be emphasizing, especially if you want to grow your side delts and achieve this anime type physique, because unlike some of the other heads of the delt, the side delt, I would argue and say it is the most important, because it is literally on the side of your shoulder. And by training this head of the delt, you're going to be really broadening your frame and make you look like you have broader shoulders, and it's going to really emphasize that V-taper. Now, the great thing with lateral raises is that you can be performing these multiple times per week. And honestly, I would say for somebody who's wanting to emphasize aesthetics, you shouldn't just be hitting your side delts once per week. You shouldn't be hitting them 2 times per week. I would tell you to even hit your side delts up to like 3-4 times per week, really, because unlike other muscle groups such as your chest, your back, your quads, like these muscle groups take longer to recover, but unlike them, you can actually hit your side delts, in particular your whole shoulder, honestly up to like 4 times per week, because they really recover under like 24-48 hours. Every other day you can be actually doing lateral raises, and that's really going to go ahead and emphasize that V-taper. It really does not matter what type of lateral raise variation you're doing, if it's with dumbbells, if it's with a cable, or it's even with a machine. It really does not matter. The most important thing is that you actually stick to an exercise and progressively overload week by week. Now, for your rear delts, the best exercise is going to be a rear delt fly. It doesn't matter if it's with a dumbbell, a reverse pec deck. The most important thing is that you actually train your rear delts. You don't actually neglect them, especially if you want an anime type physique like my man Baki here. If you actually train all heads of the delt, including your rear delt, you're really gonna go ahead and form that 3D shoulder look from every single angle, right? Because training your rear delt is going to make your shoulder just look bigger, and it's going to look more rounder, and it's really going to go ahead and pop. And that's something which we really want to go ahead and have if we're trying to achieve the anime physique. Now, the next muscle group which is very important if you really want to emphasize that V-taper, is going to be training your lats. And the lats actually insert way up here. And notice how I just said train your lats instead of just saying train your back. Because yeah, having a thick upper back, having a thick lower back is awesome. But if you really want to speed run your way to an anime physique, then training your lats is going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. Because training your lats, it's literally gonna broaden your frame and make you look wider, even from the front. And that's also going to make your shoulders look more broader, and it's also gonna make your waist look more tinier. And the best exercises for your lats is going to be a pull-up variation or a lat pull-down variation. It really does not matter. What I really recommend you also implement is doing lat prayers or straight arm pull-downs. Basically, this exercise is really great for somebody who struggles to feel his lats during pull-ups or doing lat pull-downs, or you really want to just isolate your lats more, because all you really have to do is go to like a cable machine, stand up, or you can even kneel down, and you basically extend your arms forward, and then you just go ahead and drive your elbows to your hips, and you're gonna feel a really good contraction in your lats. And honestly, I would say if you have a back day or you have some sort of upper body day and you want to emphasize your back and you really want to grow your back, I would say that you should be doing this exercise first in your routine, and then you can proceed on with doing like pull-ups and lat pull-downs, because I would say that you need to be performing this exercise first, because what this exercise does is it goes ahead and just gives you that mind-muscle connection in your lats. It goes ahead and pre-fatigues your lats. And when you go ahead and proceed to do other back exercises such as lat pull downs or barbell rows or any type of exercise, you're going to be feeling your lats way more. Do your pull-ups, do your lat pull down variations, and implement some straight arm pull downs as well. This next muscle group is heavily undertrained, and most people actually skip it altogether, or they don't even know about this muscle group to begin with, which is the upper chest. And everyone trains their chest, but they actually kind of train it wrong if you want to go ahead and have an anime physique, if you want anime aesthetics, right? Because the upper chest is super important for you to go ahead and have a masculine frame and to have a full pec, right? Because most people, all they do is just train the lower pec by doing exercises, just bench press, dips, push-ups. You know, these exercises are great, but people heavily neglect the upper chest, right? And the best exercises for your upper chest is simply by doing pressing movements on an incline, whether that be a 35-degree or a 40-degree incline, and you just perform incline dumbbell press, incline bench press, and for an isolation exercise, it's going to be low to high cable flies, right? Training your upper chest is a literal cheat code for aesthetics, because most people actually just heavily neglect the upper chest, and they have like this weird sort of saggy look to their chest. And by training your upper chest and performing incline pressing movements, you're not just going to be only training your upper chest, you're going to be pretty much hitting all heads of the chest, right? Not just your upper chest, but also your middle chest and your lower chest as well.
A lot of people think of the incline press as just an upper pec exercise, and it's like, oh no, what's going to happen to my mid and lower pecs? Yeah. That is completely blown out of proportion. There was a recent study that compared flat bench to incline bench. For the lower pecs, same growth. For the pecs, same growth. For the upper pecs, better growth with incline.
Now, the next muscle group is going to be training your arms. And everyone trains their arms, right? But I would say that most people actually focus on the wrong muscle if you want to go ahead and have an anime physique and if you want aesthetic arms. Because if you're watching this video, you don't just want to go ahead and have 20-inch arms, bodybuilder arms. No, you want arms which are big, but they're also very aesthetic. And the thing with anime characters, if you have ever noticed, is that they actually have really good biceps and they have really good forearms. And you've been sold this belief that training your triceps is the most important thing if you want to have big arms, because yeah, the tricep is 2/3 of the arm, which is true, but we don't just want a big arm, we want an aesthetic arm. And the thing is, with training your biceps and your forearms, it's really gonna go ahead and give your arm that aesthetic appeal, okay? And training your biceps is honestly also a cheat code for aesthetics, because when you think about the #1 show-off muscle, and if you go ahead and tell somebody, yeah, I go to the gym, they're not gonna go ahead and ask you to flex your tricep. They're not gonna ask you to flex your back or your chest or your legs. They're gonna ask you to show your bicep. Now, this muscle group, if you actually train it properly, it just makes you look like you even lift to begin with.
What's the most attractive muscle group for a guy?
For me, I love my boyfriend's arms, so I'm gonna say arms.
Arms,
like
good
shoulders, like
arms, good
biceps.
build.
Yeah.
I gotta say some nice biceps, some good arms. I love some arms.
I guess I like my husband's biceps.
Good biceps, maybe?
And the best exercise, which I would say to do biceps, is going to be doing incline curls. Now, for your forearms, which is a muscle group which also so many people neglect, and they just think, yeah, if I do curls, if I do just compound exercises, if I do deadlifts, if I do pull-ups, then my forearms are gonna grow. Yes, they're gonna grow, but if you want an anime physique, you don't just want decent forearms, you have to actually be isolating your forearms, doing some type of wrist curl, or in this case, I would prefer doing a reverse curl, where you basically grab a dumbbell or you grab a barbell and you just hold it like kind of with a reverse grip instead of the holding supinated. You just go ahead and curl that way. And that's really gonna go ahead and give you a good burn on your forearms. It's gonna go ahead and grow your forearms and make you look like a real life anime character. Now, I'm not telling you to actually go ahead and neglect triceps, but what I'm saying is that you need to be emphasizing your biceps and your forearms more in your arm routine. But if I had to choose one exercise for my triceps, it's going to be tricep pushdowns, because they really go ahead and pretty much hit all heads of the tricep at the same time. That's going to be it with arms, and if you followed along, then you'll notice that actually by training your shoulders and your lats and focusing on this in your routine, it's actually going to make you look more broader. And with the other muscle groups, such as your chest, your lower chest included, your upper back, your arms and legs, like these muscle groups are important, but the number one priority in your routine should be training your shoulders, and it should be training your lats, because these muscle groups can never pretty much be overtrained. Like, you've never seen a guy whose lats are too big or like their side delts are too big, because that really does not happen. But with other muscle groups, even stuff with like chest, your arms, upper back, like these muscle groups can be overtrained and can honestly kind of ruin your whole physique's appeal. Of course, like, you should be training every single muscle group in your body, but some of them are actually more important than others if you want the anime physique. Now, we've talked about training the right muscle groups for building an aesthetic anime physique, but another trait which anime characters have is their incredible leanness. And now I'm going to be explaining to you how to actually get shredded and lean down like an anime character, so you can actually show off what you have built in the gym. But first off, you actually have to understand that most beginners actually should not be focusing on getting shredded right now, because you might be somebody who is a beginner watching this video and thinking, yeah, I want to get an anime physique, I want to train the right muscles, I want to actually get shredded as well. But most beginners should actually be lean bulking, basically eating in a calorie surplus of anywhere from 200 to 500 calories, and actually growing muscle little by little, right? Because by lean bulking, you're gonna go ahead and build that foundation up. If you actually focus on shredding down and cutting, it's going to be way harder for you to actually put on muscle and actually be losing like fat at the same time. You have to just pick one. If you are over 20% body fat, meaning that you are overweight, then of course you should be going ahead and eating less and just focusing on losing body fat and then going ahead and building muscle later on. But most beginners should actually build more muscle, and by building more muscle, even being at a higher body fat percentage, you're just gonna look even more better, right? So if you're even skinny, if you're skinny fat, then you should be prioritizing a lean bulk. When it comes to cutting is actually way simpler than most people believe it to be, because the real big rule is that you need to just be in a calorie deficit of 200 to 500 calories, right? And I wouldn't recommend you to actually be in a bigger deficit, because being in a bigger deficit, it's just going to put more stress on your body, and it's going to increase the likelihood of you actually losing muscle during your cut. And that is not something which we want. And when people say that, oh, I want to go ahead and lose weight, they're talking about losing body fat, not specifically any type of weight, okay? Because some weight in our body is actually important. Now, when it comes to actually being in the cut and what type of meals to eat, I will just say that you need to be focusing on nutrient-dense meals, and which are high in protein and actually very nutritious, right? So trying to eat whole foods, and no, not every single calorie is the same, because the food that you eat actually just affects your hormones as well. And if your hormones are bad, then it's going to be way harder to actually lose body fat on your cut. Yes, of course, you're still going to be losing weight, because being in a calorie deficit is going to make you lose some type of weight. But by having healthy hormones, having healthy testosterone levels, it's going to be way easier to lose fat on your cut instead of muscle, and actually not being fatigued during your cut and still be energized. Also, when it comes to your cut, you should be doing resistance training at least 3 times per week, with some optional light cardio on the side. So basically doing some zone 2 type training a few times per week, or just doing daily walks up to 10 to 20k steps per day is going to be great in order to help you to be in that calorie deficit, and it's going to be easier to actually just be carrying on losing weight consistently. Now, if you followed these rules, then you will actually build the right frame by training the right muscle groups, and then you'll go ahead and reveal it and actually shred down. So that's really all it comes to it, right? Training the right muscle groups, building enough muscle in the right areas to actually focus on building that V-shaped silhouette, and then actually revealing it by shredding down. And that's how you become an anime character in real life. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. And if you enjoyed this video, I'm sure that you will enjoy some of these videos right up here.